Wait, what's the...
Welcome to another episode of Conscious Reconstruction. I'm the host with the most, aka Tony Melbourne. We had to take a slight break due to some scheduling issues. Yeah, I like that, scheduling issues. But we are here, back again. I'm joined with Ash and the lovely Trina. They are gracing me with their presence today and wonderful insight on all these wonderful topics that we have for you guys. I think first to go is the Senate. Yeah, capitals and riots and everything. So the first guy was officially sentenced to 8 months for felony rioting. I don't know if that's a long time or not a long time. That's a lot of messages.
Your mama ain't here. So this is
right. I can hear it in the back. I'm like, Grandma, who is she?
I don't know what's going on.
Grandma, what's going on with your grandma? She got a wonderful, fruitful life.
Right.
She be living.
She don't even use her.
That's listen. You know how many notifications them niggas be having? 99,000. Like I didn't even know you could get 99,000.
Don't know how to get to none of them.
And how you respond to this? Let's start by clicking on it.
All right, you know what? Let's get to the riots in a second. Let me tell you about me having to show my grandmother how to get to text messages.
On her phone?
Really?
Oh my God. Someone sent her a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another older woman that sent her a picture. So the older woman at first sent the picture to the wrong number, to the house phone.
No, your mom and grandma did not get it.
And so she didn't get the message because obviously you sent it to a house phone. Why did you send it to the house phone?
Usually you get a message and you send it to the house.
I don't know what this old lady got, but I know she sent it to our house phone.
We can't see picture messages through a landline.
Yeah,
Got
so
you.
Yeah.
then I got her my grandmother's cell phone number. She sends the message. I think that I'm done now. You got the message. I should be able to leave. How you get to the message? Why are y'all texting if you don't know how to text? Why don't you just email this to you? You know email. You get all kinds of emails and be in there all day. Why don't you just do that? But no, she cannot do that. Man, I don't know why.
My mother would call text messages emails like for the longest time. How you send this email?
No.
Ma'am, you worked at AT&T for 30 plus years. You know how to send a fucking email. I am confusion. Help me understand.
You know what? We laugh now, but one day we're going to be just as clueless.
I don't think so. I feel like
I
as
hope
long
I
as you
die before
stay
then.
engaged with technology, you're pretty current. She just never took the time to like want a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was anti-cell phone forever until like my grandfather passed in 2006. Cell phones have been out for quite a while before 2006. We were coming on the cusp of smartphones then, so she missed all of the like getting adjusted to every incremental like change and like adjusting to that and dealing with that. So now she's just at smartphones, has no idea what to do. It's just like a touchscreen device. She's like, I don't know what any of this is.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have that problem because like you said, we so up on how to be on trend.
It's true.
I don't think that's going to be a problem we have to face. Now, keeping up with like cultural stuff might be something.
I mean, I don't really know how to make a TikTok video.
Yeah, I'm going to have my daughter help me out with that one. I'm going to have her do all the shits and be like, yeah, get me acclimated.
Right. I'm just like, you know, Instagram and Facebook is enough for me, and I barely be on there now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, I think I'm getting to that stage where I'm like, I can't do all of this shit.
I don't want to be on TikTok. I don't want nobody to see my face or me just lips. I don't know. That's not who I am as a person.
Right.
Taking a picture, a selfie, I can do that when I feel like it.
Right.
But being on TikTok,
Have you ever been on Musical.ly?
Riley was.
Musically?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like what TikTok, you know how to be lip syncing. It was just with that mostly.
Realistically, it is TikTok. TikTok Musically turned into TikTok. I mean, like, literally, like,
Mm-hmm.
it went from Musically into TikTok. All the Musically accounts transferred over to TikTok. It just became a new app. And so it's music. That's why I asked if you knew Musically, because then if you know that, you're pretty accustomed to it. Like, sure, there's been new iterations of TikTok, but you'd at least have like a basis to like be jumping from. But if you have no idea what Musically is, then I don't know why I know what Musically is. I mean, because realistically, Musically was targeted for like Riley age kids. Like Ash said, like her daughter was on there. Like that, it wasn't for me. I just knew that this was the next.
This nigga over here lip syncing to us. So.
I would never be on it like to do it. I just knew that okay, as like a marketer, this is the next place that all of the people are going to congregate to like do marketing and things like that. And
yeah, that's the only thing I can see that's useful for. What I'm starting to see now is another form of marketing. But I don't want to be in.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to have to like I said, lip syncing and dancing and all of this shit. But I can see other useful ways for it. Now I'm starting to see like, oh, this is a contender for real. And if I decide to go the social media route to expand things, TikTok just gonna have to be one of those things to be on.
Yeah, that's definitely. It's just a bigger platform. What I want to start doing is getting back into like my original bag of like being on like the app stores and just seeing what are the most downloaded. And this is like an inside tip for y'all. You can go to the app store and see like what are the most like their top 10 and things like that. And obviously you'll see like the Facebooks and shit like that. But then you'll start to see like different apps and things like that. And so you just kind of engage with them all and see which ones are holding the most attention of the younger people. That's probably going to be the one that's the most successful.
I wonder about that now because I'm going to say being on social media ain't my strongest suit, especially now. Like, now that I have stuff to do, I'm not on social media like that. And I wonder now, like, I would say Playboy Cardi, for example, where he don't use his social media to promote anything, really. Like, he might be on Instagram every once in a while, but he not really heavy on there, not really heavy on Twitter. Now I'm wondering, like, is social media really that hyped up to be to get your name out there? I've contemplated this. Like, do I have to go this route? Because I'm not, I'm really big on...
would say initially.
In the beginning.
And then you can choose to, like, taper off. But I would say Playboy Cardi was probably more active when he first, like, got known. Like, saying more just, like, outlandish things. Just being more of a character and, like, getting people, like, to follow him. And now he can just kind of... like, well, y'all already know who I am, so I don't have to, like, continuously be that caricature.
You can get people to run your Instagram after a while.
Even in the beginning.
Yeah. I just don't know if my heart is not into that shit. And I'm at the space where it's like, I know it's a tool. I know it can be an effective tool, but is that the tool that I want to use in my toolbox?
See, I want to find a manager that can effectively use that tool because I know that's not a tool inside my toolbox that I'm have real desire to use, but I recognize its usefulness. So I'm like, all right, then I need to find someone that is like adept at that is like also like interested in doing that as like
right, because like if we kept it 100, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do it, and I keep like wanting to in my head because I think I have to, and I don't think I want to put myself in situations like it's like with social media, like I have to do that. And I know that's not my strong suit, is having to be constant, because they feel ingenuine to me, for real.
Yeah. Like,
constant, like, look at me. And I'm not a look at me person. So for me to do that, I feel like it's just going against everything that's a part of me. So that's why I'm like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? I know that's not our strongest suit as a company, for real. Like,
yeah, that's why that's why I'm like, that's probably someone that I want to bring in, because none of us are really like super like, hey, let me just be on social media all day and like be like invested in that world and like
and just creating content in that type of way. It's just not
what I like to do.
None of us like to do
it doesn't,
and I get myself hyped up for it. I'm gonna get it, I'm like that's not what I want to do, especially with all the other stuff that I have to do. It definitely get like pushed in the back burner. Like, I know it'll help us, but now I'm just really contemplating like, Do I have to?
That's the biggest fight. I'm like, me and Charles got to actually have a sit down and talk about that because he keeps talking to me about Facebook. And I'm like, the original Sam's Club stuff is tied to my personal Facebook. So what we should do realistically is have him, if he's going to be the like tech guy, just create all the things and then a login for all of them, give us all that information, and then we could all utilize that, or have a manager and then they have all this information and utilize that. But I think that would probably be the best way, is just starting fresh and creating one for each one. And
we'll talk about it more later, but I was just been contemplating that. I'm like, it's been a whole year, and I'm just like, we gotta have this talk for real, because I don't want to. And I'm not gonna keep lying to y'all like I want to. Like, I'm gonna do it. I'm not.
Hey, no, shit, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I be starting the trends. Like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do the weekly or the daily music thing, and I set a timer for that, and I be seeing the timer go off, be like, post show stuff about the music, and I be like, I don't really want to go on social media. I don't want to do that today. Like, today's not that day for me.
That's not something, like, I'm not on my Facebook for real anymore.
Just on my Instagram.
You've never been on there for real. And like I said, now that my life has completely changed, I don't feel the need to be on there. Like, I was on there pretty off and on. And I'm just like, there's no point in me being here.
Yeah, like I have other stuff to do.
Yeah, and like niggas that be on there all day, you be like,
are you getting paid? Because if you're not getting paid, I don't understand what you're doing.
And now
like,
I
the
see
niggas
that
that's
shit.
getting paid, I get it. I feel it. I feel it 110%. But if you're not getting
paid, out and scroll through it now.
I don't even be doing that. Like, I see it, it's my thing, and I'm like, it's the same shit.
It for real. Like,
it's the same shit to me. Even on Instagram, like, it's the same shit to me every day, day in, day out. I'm like, I got work to do. It's nothing here for me, for real. And the niggas that just be on there, you be like, you ain't tired of seeing the same shit. It's the same. Like I said, it's funny when it want to be funny.
Yeah.
It's entertaining when you want to be entertained for whatever time you have a space in your day. But now that I'm seeing, like, shit is garbage for my mind.
What do y'all think is going to be the next iteration of, like, interacting with the internet? Because, right, it went from, like, you go to a very specific place, like you open a browser, you type in the website that you want to go to, and you go to a very specific place, and either you're engaging with that or it was very niche. Then kind of shifted to where most websites have some form of like social media-esque aspect to them, where they want you to build community and share there, and or shopping and crafts. Where do you think it's going to take us now? Because, like, obviously social media is like the main thing, and then shopping is the periphery of that, and so it's like the crafts, because that's still, oh, look what we created and things like that. So I just kind of wonder, where do you think it's going to go?
You know where I think it's headed? I think you're going to have to start paying for a lot of these apps. I think that's what's going to end up happening, because they're getting more and more commercialized as we go forward. Kicking off sex workers, freaking, like, blocking certain words. Like, just, I don't know.
Well, I don't know if we'll have to pay for them, just because of how lucrative the ad model is for them right now.
Yeah.
I think if it ever becomes an issue of that they're struggling for new users, then they might try and institute some, like, charging of the people that are there, because the advertisers are going to go where, like, obviously the new people are coming in, like the freshest eyes and things like that. If you already have this audience that you've tapped already, I'm not super interested in this stagnant group where there's like growth and like life over here or something, doing something else. So I can see them charging if they start losing like growth. But right now everybody is joining a social media, or you know what's crazy? You know what social media disappeared? Or we don't want to talk about Clubhouse.
I was gonna mention that.
Niggas was hella excited about that shit. I'm like,
I was mad I couldn't get on. Like, F it. I guess every iPhone user got tired of talking to every iPhone user.
Cause it just sounded like, oh, we can just get to speak it out loud now. You can speak out your comment. That's what you do.
I was making a joke.
I would say the novelty of it wore off once you like started letting everybody in. which is counterintuitive to like what they wanted. As
the whole name is fucking Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Because I was confused. I'm like, it's called Clubhouse, but then you're gonna make it public one day.
Yeah.
That's weird, but you know.
And then people started like screen recording conversations and posting them online, and so now it's a thing. And then Twitter was like, you know what? We'll add this feature as well. How about that? If y'all want to talk, y'all can talk over here. We already got these accounts and these followers. So there was also that.
Clubhouse is the next big thing.
No, we need to show them this thing, but I'm not sure where things are gonna go. I know for as far as like people controlling their platform and having some sorts of regulation for it, which kind of defeats the purpose of what the internet was created for and what Facebook was created for and what Instagram was created for. Now they turn it into these things with they added more regulation, which I guess would be, you know, more of a socially responsible thing to do. But I also see the other side of it where people are not going to really want to engage too much on it because your privacy is 1,000,001% at risk for real. Mm-hmm. And it might form another developed way where people are going to go maybe trying to transition back to like a more analog thing. I don't think it's going to go away completely, but I do see kind of like more of an underground thing kind of happening. Only because it's so much stifling that's going on, and people are gonna get tired of talking about cat videos and shit like that. And honestly, the more internet that you're gonna be exposed to, the more questions you're gonna have if you had that type of mind, first of all. And clearly these platforms ain't gonna really provide that for you. They want to keep it kind of, you know, a little bit more lighthearted content, I'll say. And you're gonna have to figure out how to get your information from somewhere else, especially like even with like torrenting. You can't do that shit no more. You got to find something else to do. I don't even know how else to get music no more, because that was the last word my chapter left off. But now I'm just kind of seeing like I think it's gonna be people more trying to like evolve kind of more of an analog way to kind of communicate their ideas to each other and be out here. I think people are gonna kind of get tired of it, especially content creators.
Oh, they already are.
Yeah, because now you got to figure out,
that's
well...
going to Patreon and things like that. Like, I love a Discord. Like, when you talk about anything, Patreon, where they're not so, you know, regulated and you can't say this, can't say that. That's what YouTube is kind of turning into. It's kind of like...
Yeah, they don't really want any more of, you know, like I said, I get it, having to be a little bit more socially responsible, but that's not why any of this was fucking created. You know what I mean?
I think YouTube has gotten to the point that it's like Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is so big that they aren't worried about the niche audience anymore, or niche, I don't know which way you're supposed to say it. But they're not worried about that anymore. They're like, we have the globe. Mm-hmm. So anyone that doesn't fit like the polished version that like doesn't like give us any type of like negativity, you can go. And if you don't want to go, you're going to be uber censored or like kind of shoved to the side.
Yeah. It's just why a lot of people turn to podcasting too.
I like Patreon, but it makes sense that it's a little more free because it's behind a paywall. Once you're willing, once someone says, "Hey, I'm paying for this content," it's a little less risk of them being like, "Hey, I'm mad that this is a content that's being produced," because they are actively involved in like the funding of it. Mm-hmm. Whereas,
oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, whereas on like YouTube, people just post things, and then it's like, well, you guys kind of get funding from YouTube, and so if YouTube feels away, YouTube kind of has that like that leverage to be like, no, we're not doing this. You jeopardize our money, where there's no like jeopardizing Patreon's money. You can just stop investing in this creator that you don't like.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more of that. Obviously everyone is, but I don't know where it's going. I'm not sure. I wonder about the things that I have to say And I think I know what a lot I've seen in the news is like journalism has turned to getting their news from Facebook in order to report on the news. It's weird, like how like with COVID, everybody's opinion. Like before, you would have some separation between what people on social media or YouTube would be saying and what the news was reporting on. Now it's like they going back here and then kind of like getting information from the people, and then they can address these issues or these conversations on the news. So I'm like, that's not journalism, I don't think. I don't think this is journalism at all, to be honest. Like, I don't see that, but now I'm just kind of seeing how these things are meshing together.
The news thinks it's too slow. Mm-hmm. Or maybe we think the news is too slow to allow them the space to really do what it takes to do like real journalism, because we already like feel like we've done all the investigating and like the Twitter research. And so if they wait to like really investigate and do real research, which might take weeks or months, and then come back with something, we've probably already made our decision and are no longer interested in this topic and have moved on.
Yeah, because their ratings is like...
But I don't think the news should be like... I don't know if the news should be a government entity, because then I feel like there's a lot of like propaganda and things like that. So I feel like free press always needs to be a thing, but I also feel like it shouldn't be so heavily tied on ratings like it is, because
because that what do ratings ultimately like you care about viewership. If y'all ever get a chance to watch this movie called Nightcrawler, it'll show you that exact.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
I love Lou Bloom. He was insane, but also it showed like how the news is like paying these men to go out and capture really fucked up situations, and like how he's really good at capturing fucked up situations, and how like she didn't give a fuck about, she just wanted the ratings. Like she was watching like, I forget, I think it was like a shootout or something. She was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And he made millions. Like he started his own company, he hired like other people to do it.
Oh yeah,
it was crazy. Great movie. But also, like you said, now you're getting tied up to like viewership. But like, why would you want? Why does this matter? That sounds so sleazy.
Yeah, and so it's like I don't understand. I don't know how to fix the issue, really, because with free press is inherently like you have to make your money, and then there's competition with other like outlets, and then so if the outlet that has no integrity is going to just constantly like go to social media and beat you to every topic and just kind of regurgitate what is already being said, you lose out. So then you kind of have to play the game, and so I don't really know I feel like YouTube is kind of useful in that regard, where you have like independent like journalism and like new and information sources.
It is, but at the same time, like I know people that have been spitting real shit, and they get shadow banned all the time. They get freaking flagged all the time. It's kind of like what you said. They want YouTube to be Disney World.
Well, so what I would say is you have to approach YouTube recognizing that, all right, I'm going to report on the content, but I have to kind of remove anything that's not factual or like that's flair, really. Like most of it has to just kind of be like, if I say something that is in my culture more acceptable, but at large is a more unacceptable term or phrase, YouTube's probably not going to fuck with it, so I have to change my vernacular.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a lot of what people don't want to do necessarily, because I also get that, hey, that's diluting and changing my content.
But at the same time, yeah, you're right. But I know, there's a review channel that I watch. They got flagged, and they were talking about, these are old videos. So they don't go by the new regulation, and they have to go back, mind you, years and years of content, be like, well, I gotta change this, gotta change that. And then there's other big YouTubers that almost got their stuff shut down because of you know, the new regulations. It's just gotten ridiculous.
Yeah, I wouldn't use YouTube anymore, but to promote something to hopefully get somebody else in another space. Because that's what I would see for all platforms. Like, I would understand now, like, it's just for, yeah, okay, I'll play by those rules. Because like Tony said, you could go. So I was like, all right, I accept that answer. But now I'm seeing, like, I wouldn't go on there to put sensitive information. I would try to get somebody to go somewhere else. Like, now I think the algorithm, somebody was saying, like, if your video's got to be around 10 minutes for you to get to the higher algorithm. That's enough space to advertise for something else, basically.
Yeah, it's you need a 10-minute video. They want you to be fairly consistent, like, and it doesn't have to be consistent on, like, a daily thing. But let's say you post every Tuesday.
Right.
Post every Tuesday. The algorithm likes consistency and repetitiveness, so that's when it's going to say, hey, on Tuesdays, this is what's out. Yeah. And so your thing is going to be posted out on Tuesdays because this is what you do. So as long as you're consistent, it flows with that. So, I mean, I see the flaws in YouTube, but I also recognize that there's a lot of advantages if you're not super worried about.
Right, if you're not using it as I'm not saying everybody using it as a soapbox, but that's the basic thing I could think of.
Yeah, if you're not really using it as a soapbox or trying to get your own agenda off in a certain way, it's still extremely useful and a valuable tool. Yeah. Like, you can, like, I follow a couple of channels that are just, it started off just being purely geared towards, like, the Lakers. I watched them grow in, like, viewership. Him and his whole little team of just random people. They got in contact with a guy from the WWE that likes the NBA, and so it was COVID last year, so they had him on talking about the games and the bubble and everything like that. And then now they have a second channel. They're up to about 5,000 subscribers on the new channel. And that's in a month and a half, or a month and a week, about 5 weeks that I've watched this new channel be up. And so I'm like, nah, you can still get it on YouTube. I watched another guy, Noah, the dude that be on here drunk that I show y'all. Oh, okay. His channel, the same thing. It's that same progression. So I'm like, all right, so if you choose to play the game of YouTube, you can be successful. It's when you want to play your own game, but want to do it on YouTube, and then they're mad because YouTube doesn't let you, is when you're not successful. And so that's kind of why I was like, well, you could leave. And because there's plenty of other platforms that are out there that you could go to do what you want to do. Right, because
now at that point you have to figure out what's more important, you saying what you got to say or getting attention from what you got to say. Yeah. Because at this point we all know you might not get attention from what you got to say. Yeah. So now you got to figure out what your values is.
Yeah, because you can go to Discord and say whatever you want to say.
Yep. Well, yeah, I didn't say you can't. I was just saying, you know, the flaws in YouTube. That's all.
And I'm just saying that you have to decide if you want to stay on YouTube or not. Yeah.
But anyway, back with these riots.
Oh, yeah, these riots. Do y'all think 8 months is enough time for storming the Capitol?
No. Nope.
How long do you think you should get?
That's a federal offense, isn't it? And that's a federal building. Should at least get 2 years for that. Like, I don't understand, like, 8 months? No. No.
I'm going to do 6 and get probation. Hopefully I get to stay in here for the winter.
It's an act of terrorism, isn't it? So let's treat it like it.
Is it? I don't know.
Storming.
I wasn't afraid.
And they were planning on hurting some of the Senate. Like, they really wanted to take over that building. They ended up hurting the police officer first of all. And then they stormed the Capitol.
What the fuck was they gonna do?
Huh?
I was just wanting to know, like, what was they planning on taking over the Capitol? Well, here now. Well,
get the fuck out of here. Hurt or kill some people. I don't know.
I just want to know what they was gonna do when y'all got there. You don't know shit. You just angry. You emotional and angry. You just gonna tell people how angry you was and go home. So angry ass.
That's what happened. They started the Capitol and then the police came and said, "I break it
up." Yep. And they was gonna go back home.
At night, they broke it up and then tried to
want to be here forever.
My thing is, why did y'all let them just go home instead of arresting all of them? 2.
I'm confused. That's what I said. I don't know, man. That shit
8
seems
months
staged.
is not a long time because you only have to do like, I think it's like 80% of your time in federal prison.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at like 6 months, something like that. That's
About.
so I go away half a year and I storm the Capitol. I'm sorry, just storming buildings and then taking little vacations. Man, what you about to do, man? I'm about to go storm this building real quick.
Damn, chill.
And
See
then
you up in your belly.
I'm gonna get Thug Life tatted on me. How long you did? I did that little 6 months, man. Yeah, I did 6.
Hey, this nigga don't eat,
6
so you not
hard
allowed to fuck
ones.
with the food. His mom gonna send him.
Hey, no, they probably got a good kitchen. I'm gonna go to the Martha Stewart prison. That's what federal prison
The
is.
Martha Stewart prison?
Yeah.
What?
No,
the Martha
didn't I
Stewart
tell you
prison?
about my relatives' experience in prison? I had to decide how honest I want to be on this episode. But yeah, my relatives' more recent experience in prison, how they had like little iPads and could watch movies and shit.
What?
Yeah.
Damn, prison becoming comfortable.
Well, he was in federal prison.
And he had an iPad. He had a little tiny tablet.
Yeah, and he was like, it's like you're not even in jail as long as you're in that movie because you just get into it and everything. It's like you back in there once the movie and over everything. But I figure you just watch another movie. You just watch
Yeah,
movies
they
all
making
day.
a fucking, what is that called? The pipeline? What is it called?
Yeah, the prison to school pipeline.
Some
The
school to prison
pipeline. Yeah, it is. Yeah, school
Ain't
to
that shit
prison.
real comfortable for niggas that never want to leave?
Yeah.
You don't gotta grow up in prison. You can stay a boy forever.
Yep.
Oh,
You
wow.
can stay on social media and do all that
You
shit.
can do all that shit. You can get your bitches. Oh my fucking god. Ain't nobody going harder than a nigga in jail trying to get a bitch.
And they be on Tinder and shit now. I like, what the fuck?
How you supposed to swipe right on the nigga that can't leave?
No, just keep writing me until I get out, baby.
Keep writing me, girl. You know you making everything better.
Hold on.
I hate all of them.
All right, we are back. We took a short break because life happens and don't mind your business. Mind your business. But anyway, we're going to move on to something that is a lot more wild than the riots. And I know you're thinking, what could be more wild than a riot on the Capitol building? How about a 17-year-old boy sneaking into your daughter's bedroom and then you catching them and then them killing you? Because that's what we're about to talk about right now. So yeah, in this story, a 17-year-old boy, McQuiter, was coming to see a young girl, 14-year-old Miss Hamilton, and so he brought himself a ladder. And this isn't the first time. He had previously visited her at her apartment with her family, with said ladder. And so he had brought the ladder to the home and proceeded to get caught by the father. And then him and the father and the daughter all went downstairs to have a conversation. Well, all the parents, the grandma, the mom, the dad. And then the parents start talking to the daughter. And then suddenly there's shots being fired. And then now the father is dead. Now, isn't that wild? Much more wild than any Capitol riot, because that could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
I've snuck into people's houses. I'm not gonna lie. I've been one of the people that say, hey, you want me to come over? Oh, your parents are there? I gotta wait till what time? How am I get in? Are you gonna leave this window open? Thank you. All right.
Oh, I used to sneak in guys all the time.
Climb straight through the window.
And I go out the window too.
And right out the window too, yeah. Right back out the way I came in.
No, okay. I should read no one's ever gotten through a window into my house
Yeah,
to have sex with me.
I had to sneak past their parents' bedroom. On down the hallway.
Ours was second. Oh, you never been in my house, so theirs is on the first floor.
No, this was a ranch style house, so all
No,
the bedrooms
everything
were
was
on the
separate.
same floor.
Their master was on the first floor. Other shit was upstairs.
Nah.
And guess what? It was no door, so you could just be super. Oh, in that door, yeah. do one of these and go upstairs. But
Yeah, no, I was, all the doors would be closed in the house, and then I would just be down the hall.
Smacking
Two doors
cheeks.
down, yeah, smacking cheeks. And I could never imagine being the guy that breaks into somebody else's house. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm breaking into another person's house to go have sex with their daughter.
Quietly into the night.
Yes,
this
quietly.
nigga tried to.
I can't. I'm not
had the
bringing
nerve to have a pistol with
my gun to come and like accost you, sir. I recognize that I'm the wrong one in this situation. So if you want me to leave,
I'ma leave.
if it's fist and feet time, I get it because hey, I'm trying to dig down your daughter. You probably feel all kinds of strong ways about
you
this.
were not invited.
You said you're not invited.
That's number one. Straight number one.
She's
You're
not
not
an
invited.
adult, so she can't even. I don't even feel
don't
like
own
she
this
get
house.
to make the decision.
Everybody wrong.
I don't care what none of y'all think. Why are you here? And so I get all of that, and I could never imagine being like, you know what? I'm gonna shoot you.
You wrong, nigga. You wrong for asking me.
Dad,
Could you imagine your any guy you brought in just shooting your mom?
No, just be like,
You get hey no, like, cause you said you got caught. Imagine getting caught them arguing, and then the gun comes out, and now there's shooting involved.
I'm like, what the hell is this?
How do you feel in that situation? Are you sad?
Awful. Because I just wanted some penis.
It started out with
I just wanted some penis.
kids.
Like
How
any
did it
other
look
boy
like
in the
this?
century. I'm just a girl, 17. I just wanted some penis. It's not dick yet, it's penis.
Right. Forcing itself in and out your home. Because teenage sex just be the wildest adventure. It's no technique for real
No, it's not. You got
You
no
just
rhythm.
excited to be doing this.
You ain't getting pussy. You just like, I just felt his
Oh my God, what? And this nigga like, nigga, we ain't never stopping. And y'all both be like, yeah, you right. We should risk a life for this.
Yeah, and so imagine now him risking like, fuck it. The dad called us. He mad. I'm
mad
shoot
too.
him.
What?
Huh?
Nigga, you gonna shoot my dad? You can never fuck me again. We're not talking. We're never
didn't
speaking.
even
Imagine if
anymore.
you heard somebody at the door and he just took out his pistol. Be like, what the fuck?
What is going on?
What are you doing?
No.
You're not the one that pulls the pistol out in this situation.
They just want to be hiding.
You're supposed to take this ass whooping and it's supposed to be a funny story later on.
Yeah.
No one was supposed to die.
No.
Yeah, this is a traumatic story that. What if Riley? And you caught a boy and Riley, and now he got a gun.
We shooting. What the fuck? I understand the fight. I said it's right. But I also understand.
The dad be like, all right, bet. Well, then we shooting
We
then.
shooting it. What? I would hope that, like, hopefully, that if I ever get a second chance in marriage again, like, he knows how to get a gun out of a hand and handle this situation. A lot of niggas don't clearly, like.
I mean, but shit, if I was yelling at my daughter and you just start shooting from the other end of the room, not a lot of time to get the gun out of
not a lot
hand.
of time
What
to
the fuck
defend
are
yourself.
you? No, all right, bet. Guess we're shooting now because
You decided to shoot.
You just want to turn this into a Wild Wild West when you
And
just
I-
could have got your little butt whooped and
and I-
could have went home.
Could have
and
bowed
just the
out
way
and
that
like,
the
yeah,
story
you right.
goes, it don't make sense for the dad to be the one that was shooting first. Like, they literally said that they started talking to the 14-year-old and then shooting occurred.
Oh, so he probably took him downstairs to talk to him.
Yeah, he took all of them downstairs.
Unless
so
he
it's
showed him his pistol.
no, it's the mom was there, the mom, the grandma, and the dad. Because like when you read it, it tells you the rest of the people that were there. When then she just said they turned to talk to the 14-year-old. So it's like it's probably the mother pulled the 14-year-old aside and started arguing with her about having dude in the house, and then there's shots.
What the fuck?
Why are we shooting?
This is not supposed to go like this.
What? I
I'm
want to
so
meet his
confused.
family. Like, y'all be in that bitch Wild Wild West, and I don't know. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, like my dad would be so quick after a while, after he got his gun, would be so quick to grab his fucking gun for like minor shit. Like I remember him and my brother was arguing, and I guess because my brother is now taller than my younger brother is now taller than my dad, I guess he must have felt disrespected that them niggas just was trying to fight each other. So his resort was, I'm grabbing my gun. I'm like, My mother was so stressed out because she just didn't want, obviously, like her husband or her son getting shot. I was like, that's when I
don't
moved
want
out.
my husband to shoot my son.
Yeah, that's when I was out the house. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, it's time to
leave.
leave. Like, we trying to be part of a murder
Shit,
case.
I was like, what? So, that's still crazy.
Does he still have his gun?
Yeah, he still got it. Ready to fucking shoot someone. I'm like, nigga, you don't need no fucking gun. He one of them niggas that just every fucking situation he think requires his gun.
Not all of them. I think you should have one, but I don't think it's required for all situations.
I think he does.
You know.
Not a man of death, but also.
Yeah, no, I just thought that was something wild to just touch on. I was like, when I was just scrolling, because I was just looking at news with like topics to talk about, and then that just crossed my timeline. I was like, who the fuck breaks into somebody's house to sleep with their daughter and then murders the dad? What do you expect to happen besides prison and
That's
a
crazy.
ruining of your life? Like, the girl is gone. You don't have that anymore. You expect her to like stay by your side through the fact that you murdered her father?
You expect this 14-year-old girl to love you forever?
How about that? How about that?
Let's talk about this 14-year-old
Little girl
girl.
that is going to forget you. She's going to forget you.
your ass. She can't now.
Now she can't forget you, but
Now
she's
she
not
can't
definitely not
forget
gonna
you.
love
She's
you.
not about to love you.
But she never gonna forget you. You made sure of that. But maybe you
Nah,
took her
that's what it
virginity,
is.
so she might have still remembered you forever.
Yeah.
But now
you just
you a
see,
terrible
to
man.
me, that's simping. Like, niggas think like buying flowers and saying how you feel is simping. No, this is a simp story.
Yeah.
Right fucking here.
Yeah.
He don't know how to let go
Right, yeah,
of a girl
yeah.
and just kind of let her be. Nah, you wanted to simp and,
Kill
play
her.
a big fucking role. Alright, I call that nigga a simp for real. That to me is simping. Like,
I
you
can see
didn't,
that you too emotional over the vagina. Like,
yeah, you
Sir.
didn't lost your fucking dignity over something that you didn't know was gonna last for fucking ever. You don't even know. Like, I get it when you fucking 17 and in love. I don't know if I necessarily thought everything was gonna last forever, but I knew I didn't want it to end. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So you already know how it is. Like, oh, this the shit. What?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You just like, man, I love him.
Yeah, like I love him, but I don't know if I was thinking about forever with my first love. I don't think I was thinking about that, but I knew I didn't want it to end. Put it that way.
I did get into an altercation with a father before, but it was over the phone. He somehow got my number and was talking about beating my ass and how he got all these niggas that could come see me. And then, all right, sir, you've now called me and entered a different realm.
Yeah.
You not in that realm anymore. I'm about to treat you like a nigga. Well, this is where I'm at, and I got a street full of niggas, so you can come and pull up and see me if you would like. Cause we don't give a fuck. And that was
How old were you?
I was 18 or 19. Cause it's me and Jones. Me and Jones were down on like, right in like the border of Cleveland and Shaker by Hot Sauce Williams.
Yeah.
So we down there, and so we like, this is where we're at. You can meet us. We have nothing but niggas all up and down these streets, so you can do what you want to do. This is where we are. So that's the only, but I have never initiated conflict with a father.
With a parent,
I've only been called by a parent and threatened over the phone and then responded accordingly, but I've never.
Because he was being a child.
Yeah,
I'm
like-
not about to speak to no 19-year-old fucking boy.
Right, and
What the
calling
fuck?
him
I'm
up
like,
and threatening him.
you
Right.
19. I'm assuming the daughter is maybe 17. I don't know how she was when he was fucking with her.
18, whatever.
But also, I'm not about to talk to no boy about my child. You don't matter at this point. I need to held accountable to motherfucking nutsack that you came out of. That's strange. Because
Yep.
if he really wanted to do it, he would have been done by now.
Yeah.
I'd have found your ass if it was that serious.
Yeah,
You're
like,
not about to beef, but you want to feel good again. You want to feel like you still got it,
and
Dad.
what it was is, one of his homies worked at the place that I worked at back in the day, and so he had like told his homie what I looked like, and he was like, "Yeah, I know him." I don't give a fuck that this nigga know who I am. This nigga can get it too. What don't
so
you
weird.
understand? You know what that means? I know where he work as well. You gonna get your friend hurt because you want to play these little young nigga games, and I'm young and dumb, and I'll do something stupid.
And I got a lot more years ahead of me.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot
to lose, nigga.
Yeah, you playing young kid games with a kid.
Yeah, with a child.
You get childish results. Stop playing with me, because at that point I was fully committed to taking it to whatever level you want to go to. Because hey, I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm 19 years old. I don't give a fuck. Let's go there.
I get 10. I get out at 29.
Yeah.
So
I watched the whole first season of Louis C.K. and he took this girl.
Whole house.
He took this girl out on a date.
Family and everything. Like, nigga, if we go to jail and we both do something crazy, you have a lot more to lose than I do. You a whole ass nigga that got a kid and a wife and
Clearly
another
things
kid.
You want to protect.
Yeah, like you have a whole family, sir. This is not the way that you should be behaving. But I have none of those things.
You have nothing
that I need to be responsible for.
Youth.
Yeah, so
it's on my
let's
side.
go.
No responsibility.
Yeah, not at all.
Start all over again.
Yeah, I was fully with the shits, like, because I was crazy. But
I remember it was a Louis C.K. episode where he took this girl on a date. They having a great time. Some young niggas come in the back, start making a ruckus. So he was like, hey, could y'all keep it down? One of them niggas got bold and start harassing him and the girls at dinner. And so he made Louis beg. He's like, beg me not to beat your ass right now, just to humiliate him in front of his date. And Louis started acquiescing. And then the woman was like, she's like, I don't know, that just turned me off so much. And he was like, for real, really? And then they ended up going to separate ways. But what Louis ended up doing was following that little boy home, went to his house and was told the father, like, this is what your son did tonight. And that shit was unacceptable. And then they showed the father actually whooping on this nigga's ass and was like, this is what you do? And he was like, Louis was like, wait a second, you ain't gotta whoop his ass. I just wanted this little nigga to be held accountable. They go out and start talking. He was like, yeah. Him and the father was like, oh yeah, they start cussing this nigga out to get out the house. And Louis was like, oh, I see what's going on here. This nigga didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, he's being bullied because his dad's a fucking bully. Now he don't know how to deal with the situation. Father was like, man, I had this nigga when I was 21. And I was like, oh, that's wild. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's crazy. That just made me think about that.
yeah. See, in situations like that, it's like, all right, we being adults? Do you know how to handle this as an adult, or
Yep.
we?
You want to be a kid?
Is everybody in the situation a child, and this is why childish things are happening? Everybody is a kid, and so I see why he was a child. I got it. I completely understand. But yeah, no. I just thought that was wild. Something else I wanted to touch on before we get into Ash's topic is Charlamagne Tha God. He lands a Comedy Central talk show that's supposed to start in mid-fall, I believe. No specific date, but they're saying mid-fall. So yeah, what do you guys think about, I guess, the transition of more cultural content creators and influential people into mass media and mainstream media, I guess? Because like there's the Deezus Zamero, Issa Rae's ending.
What was the one you? No, I don't know if you liked the read.
Yeah.
The one that I know a lot of people like to do. They got mainstream, didn't they?
They see. I feel like it didn't work with them because I don't know what happened because then COVID happened. So they got a show, I think on Showtime as well.
Okay.
And had started doing that, and then immediately COVID hit, and so they just stopped meeting in person. And they don't even meet in person to do their podcast right now. So I don't know, like, if the COVID just kind of put a kibosh on, like, them doing that, or, like, if it was just horrible time where, all right, we didn't even have, like, the room to make this successful because as soon as we started it, had to get shut down, and we're just not into doing it right now. So I don't know exactly. So I am kind of happy because I did feel like when I watched a couple of episodes, it wasn't exactly the same. It wasn't really like the read that I was used to getting, like, from the podcast, which I was happy that they plan to continue the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, some people just transitioned fully. Like Issa Rae, I know how she did Awkward Black Girl on YouTube, and then still kind of remained kind of true to source with
Insecure?
Yeah, there it is. Insecure.
When does that come back on, by the way?
I have no idea.
Every time I think about Insecure, I just think about that was the first time I think, not in my adult life I ever seen some, at the end of the season when him and that dude break up and then he go to the other girl's house to fuck her. I just remember like, I had never seen nobody clapping cheeks like that and said it was porn. I was like, damn, what was his name?
Porno on there.
What was his name? Not Christopher. I remember, God, I was like, I know it's not normal for HBO Max, but I just had never seen. That was the last season I ever watched, for real, to be honest with you. After I seen that, I'm like, oh, you niggas on some trash. I really don't want to see that. I don't know why.
Wait a minute. When he or she?
When they first broke up in the first season.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, Lawrence.
There we go. And he went back to that girl he was fucking with.
Started clapping. Yeah.
Boy,
that was
crazy.
crazy.
I was like, I don't know why. That took me by surprise so much. But I haven't watched it since then. I was like, I don't know why. It's not like it's a bad show or nothing, but I just stopped. I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
Speaking, I want to, after we segue into something, but we just discuss this. I just want afterwards segue.
Yeah, I just thought I might say like
shows because I just watched.
I was like, oh, this is what
show did you watch?
I watched Sex Life on
I've never
Netflix.
seen that.
Oh, I've heard about that.
What's that about? They fucking on there too?
Yeah, it showed dick and everything.
I mean, I would not be interested.
This dude turned around. You like
I would
like
not be interested in that.
It's supposed to be all about being able to have actual conversations that are awkward in sex. Like, if you get cheated on, like, are there more conversations to be had outside of the initial upsetness about being cheated on? And just more open conversation, but also, from what I hear, extremely raunchy.
Well, what it is about, it's about a married woman. She gives up her life in the city. She was a wild child. Then she settles down, has 2 kids, and she's just unsatisfied.
With her sex life or just all over the place? All of it?
Sex life. Just her husband falls off. He does. He falls off. She starts thinking about her ex.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes back to the city and tries to speak to her friend, that lives in the city. Because she was having doubts and like a midlife crisis. And the next thing you know, this nigga come out the bedroom. She's like, what the fuck? It's her ex. It's her best friend. And she like, so yeah, you gotta watch it.
Listen, I think I found on the trend of Tony and not watching people shows anymore, because they'll start at something and we end up on a totally different, I'm not watching this anymore, I quit.
It was just, I just had to watch it all the way through. I mean, it's not the best writing. I was just bored and I watched it. I'm like, because my aunt kept telling me to watch it. I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll watch it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the ending was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, so is this like, is she gonna like have an open marriage or some shit? Like, just let me know.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be trying. I started watching Shadow and Bone.
I couldn't get into it.
Because I was chilling with my friend and my hair did. And I just put it on because I'm like, what's this? And I ended up liking it. But I haven't watched it since. Like, I can't sit myself down and watch quote unquote people shows at this point in my life. I don't know what it is, but I've lost complete, like, it's the fucking fluctuation. I'm like, I don't like. It takes me something like completely left field where I'm just like, no, I quit.
They don't stay consistent.
No, they don't. This one doesn't either. So y'all, I know.
It's too many subplots that you're just not really interested in. Like,
yeah, they trying to always add like weird like twists and like
weird twists that you don't really give a fuck about. How did we get here? It's too much sometimes.
I will say the sex scenes sometimes are over exaggerated. Like, me and my boyfriend were watching like a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, a pool. Y'all gonna fuck in a pool? No, that shit dries up a pussy so fast.
Oh, what?
A pussy so fast.
What
like,
dries it up?
Like chlorine water. Like, you want to have sex in a pool?
Yeah,
like
you said pool.
And I'm like, yeah, you gonna get fucking a yeast infection off of this shit.
I'm not like, trying to have a whole dick in me and chlorine water just sloshing around. I know that. I know, nigga. I know. We already said the story. But anyway, he couldn't have no fucking problem with it.
It's already been a thing. A little jacuzzi time? Shit.
Oh, God.
I've never been interested in it. It just seems like it'll burn. I don't know.
She seemed completely fine. I'll say that. She seemed like she had an amazing time.
God bless her, whoever she is.
You know, I guess. But anyway, I don't even know how we got here.
Oh, sorry. You mentioned the Roger show. You mentioned Insecure.
Yeah.
I was just bringing her up because I know that after the 5th season of Insecure, she has already signed a multi-million dollar deal to do movies and TV shows with Warner Media.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, do you think that they're going to have that same essence that Insecure, Awkward Black Girl had, or do you feel like kind of like how Deezus and Meryl, to me, kind of feels watered down?
Do it. I never watched it. I just knew, like, when I first heard about them getting a Showtime show, I'm like,
I really enjoyed them. I guess you could say that they're getting bigger guests and things like that, but I don't know if these are necessarily people that they really care about. And so I liked when they had their friends on and like shot the shit and talked about like what was going on in that sphere. So it was interesting in that way. And so now it's, I mean, yeah, it's broader, so it's more accessible to other people, but I feel like some of the edge is gone. And that's what I would say. I think that you lose some of the edge when you go, like, super corporate.
That'd be the thing. I don't know, like, what we do here. I don't know if this even, like, if this podcast was able to blow up, what would we do? Like, because a lot of things we talk on here don't necessarily lean towards, it go towards everything. It's not like it's going towards one thing where... And I'm not saying, like, people get upset about it, but also, I know some of the things I say would damn sure get...
Yeah, no, it can be very polarizing at times.
Yeah, so that just make me think, like, what am I willing to sacrifice for that, you know, at that point? It's like, it got both of the benefits.
I wouldn't change anything. Full transparency, I plan to handle each show individually in that regard. Like with this, I want to be uber protective of its freedom of thought and conversation. That's the entire reason that I created the show.
Right.
So to allow it to get to that space and then like be like, all right, well, we got to limit thought and conversation to like be mindful of this. Sure, we'll be respectful, but I'm not saying that we're not going to also like broach questions and have topics that might be uncomfortable for
a larger audience. Yeah.
And so I would probably keep it that way and allow it to grow and be fruitful in that sphere, and then look to find a way to like Patreon it, something like that, where all right, this we have a large size or decently sized audience and we're going to keep that internalized here. And then do maybe some like YouTube stuff like clips and things like that, but most of like what we do really in like a more centralized podcast and Patreon way.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's gonna be the same now. It's gonna be watered down.
It gotta be.
Yeah, it's
because you got like 15 million people trying to appeal to somebody that you necessarily wasn't trying to appeal with in the first place.
Right. Like I can't imagine me like we weren't here, but we had got on a transgender topic. I would have been fucking canceled for half of the shit that I said. I was like, you know, if I couldn't have an opinion, I'm like, so now I can't have an opinion. What was the point of the podcast?
Right. That's what got me initially about it. It was like, oh, we can do this. Not saying that nobody ever did it before, but that's what made me interested in it, was to be like, we can talk about everything.
Yeah, everything and anything. Whatever you are interested in at that point, and whatever your opinion is. Like, I don't agree with all the stuff that y'all say. Y'all don't agree with all the stuff that I say. And I think that that's the beauty of the show, is that
And you don't see that nowhere. That's the other thing was
where people don't agree and then come back consistently and be like, hey, we're still friends, we still engage and share in discourse and share in like fellowship, but have different opinions, and that's okay.
That's pretty rare. I'm not saying it don't happen, but it's super rare, especially around like black people. Like, let me just say
you're a cool because you don't believe.
Let me just say how rare this is. Not just for just as a whole, but for niggas to come together and not bang on each other afterwards and leave. Like we had, I think he had like was like, oh, let me invite. What's your friend's name? Charles, the other one that's the producer.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, let's invite him on here. I'm not interested in arguing about religion, but I know that if we were to get into that conversation, it'd have been cool. I've been like, oh yeah, you know, I don't really agree with this. But for us to have this as a whole is super rare. For black people to get together and not agree with each other. That's what I was afraid of going into this initially. Like, if you niggas about to jerk each other's dicks and agree with each other on everything, not showing up. And then it became, oh wait, I can say these things.
Yeah, no,
and no one's like whole ass hard like taking this to heart.
Right.
And so for me, I feel like episodes can get intense.
Yeah.
But as long as it's that episode's over. Move on. Like, you don't hold on to anything. These are people, and people have opinions. And it's like, people that you disagree with can also have brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
Racists
definitely.
can be very intelligent people. And I know that can sound controversial to say, but it's the truth.
Right.
And if that's a fact, then being hostile towards people like expressing their opinions just doesn't make sense to me. So I always wanted to create a space where everybody could just have a conversation and not feel like, oh, I'm not allowed to say this here, or this isn't an acceptable thing to talk about. No, let's talk about it. Fuck it.
Yeah, let's see where it goes. Your opinions can also change. I know the time that we've been doing this, I've seen Tony kind of grow personally, because at one time his thing would be polarized to this one, and now he wouldn't care less. So I've seen his growth just from talk. I don't even know if it's from just talking about it, but just being around him for a pretty decent amount of time and pretty consistently, once a week at least.
Care a little more, huh?
Maybe it's just changed. I see him a little bit more relaxed. He not as like when I first met him, I was just like, why are you so serious? To now where it's like he's definitely more relaxed. Even when we did this back in 2019, he just changed. He wasn't the same person. I was like, who the fuck this is? That's not the nigga I met in 2015. But even now I can say like, oh wait, there's growth here. Like that's one of the people I can say honestly, like he really do be learning from his lessons.
I was uncomfortable before. I wanted to do this, but it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I don't complain about shit. I'm just going to throw myself into it on the work side. So that's what he saw. My entire world was, no, just work. Work and nothing else. What do you want to work? Work. The Rihanna song, yes. Me and that are one. Just know. And I want to do nothing else but work.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, we're doing it and things are coming along, and I recognize that shit takes time. Before then I was like, all right, I got this cart. Fuck the horse. We don't need the horse. Just put the cart in front. And it's like, all right, the cart's not moving. Maybe you should get a horse and like fill the cart up and, you know, do some other like necessary things to like make this like actually a thing, and then you'll probably feel more productive than trying to like pick up carts and be like, all right, we're instantly going, because it's not how it is.
Right.
And so, but going to college and spending thousands of dollars on like promotional shit. I've had just random logos designed and business cards made and started a company and paid for the tax ID and all the formation of it and all of that, to be like, all right, well, I'm just going to dissolve all of that because realistically I made that and I wasn't doing anything and I had no idea what I was going to do. I just thought that you needed to have the company first, and that doesn't make sense. You do something, you're doing it, and then you're like, oh shit, this is a thing. And then you're like, all right, well, how do I make this thing more of a thing? And then you just keep working at it, and that's what this is. And so, yeah, I'm way more comfortable in that than what I was before.
That was like, I think going back to the main point for me was like, I see this show as something that's really in a part of him and his growth for real. Like, it's not nothing that he just talk about and then just go fuck about. Like, somebody did that and I didn't understand, like, how are you down here with me week after week talking about this stuff and then your life wasn't really changing, and then how you could just leave. That didn't make any sense to me. But from what I saw from Tony's, from his actions, was like, no, he's willing to work on the things that he feel like you need to work on, and that's super important. So I've seen him grow to those things and be pretty flexible. But like I said, this show is really, it's coming from his heart for real, and that's what made me be like, oh no, he's serious. This is not nothing that for real, like, oh, I just wanted to do it. Like, nah, he was really, I ain't gonna say passionate, but you can tell his heart was in it. I'll say that much.
The fact that I came up with the idea for the show high out of my mind on ecstasy
Really?
still blows my mind. I was driving down to go hang out with some of my homegirls, and they were getting out ready to go out to the club, and I was gonna go with them, and I'm high as fuck on ecstasy, and I just am in the parking lot just typing away on my phone this whole idea and like what it should be about and like what I want it to look like. And then I go in there and hang out for like 20 minutes and be like, I'm going home. And don't go out at all. It was the craziest experience. I drove there, had a whole brain epiphany, walked inside, hung out for a couple of minutes and said, y'all are going to go out? I'll see y'all later. I'm going to go back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
I drove like 30, 40 minutes to go down there to the city for no reason. But it gave me that idea, and I have no idea what inspired me or what about that, but it's that serendipity of it. But I think this is a good time to go into like your topic of
I'm always surprised when it's still my turn.
I know, every single time.
Every single time it was like, oh, to speak.
Because I think this is definitely talking about like that negative side of ambition, and I can say that I definitely experienced that, like 2015, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
That was a negative side of ambition, just like do stuff. You need to be doing this, and it's like, all right, well, where's the forethought in this? Where's the planning and the like real understanding of what you're doing for me?
Your capabilities. You know what I'm saying? I think for me noticing, well, I guess I'll start at my example. For me noticing where I was pushing myself too hard and trying to get other stuff off the ground was noticing that like these are not my talents for real. Like, Tony might have a talent for understanding business vernacular and things of that such. I don't. I don't know. And he went to school for it. So that might be a talent that he has. I don't have those talents and those things. And for me to just try to carry on these, I want to say big and ambitious. I'm trying to think about something I was thinking. Like I said, the pivotal point for me was noticing, like, this is not what you good at. So why are you beating up yourself for things that I haven't even started? Because really you don't want to do them. And if I had to go, like, from reading say if you read a self-help book and you had an idea in your head and you wanted to continue this idea based upon principles in a self-help book, that's when things become toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like How to Be a Millionaire, if somebody wrote that book. Do you really know how to be a millionaire? Like, tricking yourself into becoming a millionaire and saying that you are, faking it to you. I guess the point is, like, faking it till you make it is not helpful at all. And I wonder if that coincides with pushing yourself too hard. First of all, let's start with that one. Do you believe in the axiom of faking it till you make it in the realm of entrepreneurship? Or just anything, really. Like, say you want to be a better kisser. Just anything. It's faking it till you make it really working.
I know people that do, but I don't. Because I don't want to give up this fake reality that things come easy. When you wake up one morning and say, yeah, like even the shit I do, like I know that toxic positivity, that's why I got into credit repair. I was going to do it, but I'm like, I got to succeed in one area first before I just hop into another because you feel like you're not doing enough. But as far as fake it till you make it, it's people that, you know, get online and take pictures next to somebody else's car or I just don't get it. Like, take a picture in a condo that he
Yeah,
can
or
barely
or like
afford.
going to the dealership to test drive a
Right.
Mercedes or whatever.
Like, yeah, I'm not for that. Like, I'm a struggling entrepreneur right now. I don't have thousands of dollars in my fucking account.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have everything I want yet, and that's fine. You know, it may take 2 to 3 good years, and I think there should be more of that. You know, I just hate this whole generation of everything just comes so easy and comes straight away. I'm like, no, fucking doesn't. What about you, Tony?
I think you can fake it till you make it.
I think so.
Yeah, especially in today's society. Everything is based off of attention right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can fake the life that you believe in, and I can parlay that attention into a sponsorship, dollars, whatever, then I've successfully faked it until I made it.
Mm.
And so I think that it's a viable and much more realistic way of going about things than it used to be. Before, more people were apt to like call your card or check your background, and that's why, like, have y'all ever seen Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys know that's based off a real story, right?
Yeah.
The reason that that's so like prolific is because back in that day, no one was faking who they were and like assuming identities and flying all over the place. But now we have stolen identities and people being different people and doing that every single day. So back in the day, no, you couldn't fake it till you make it because people were double checking and you really had to have the credentials and like kind of prove who you were, and the ability to fake it till you make it was much harder. You had to really jump through some hoops. Now you take a couple pictures, do a little Photoshop, and life is good.
Like, oh my gosh, you could be anybody you want.
And so no, I'm all about fake it till you make it. I don't think that it takes away from anybody else, and so that's why I don't mind it. Them faking it till they make it isn't going to turn them into a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to continue to get brand deals because they have a lot of eyes on them. So all the real estate stuff is still going to be mine. Now maybe they want to invest in real estate, but sure, that's cool, but you're not going to know anything about it, so you're probably not going to be the most successful unless you're actually going to like stop faking it at this point now that you have some money and really look to learn that skill. But most people don't do that. They generally get comfortable and then continue doing what they did to get them this windfall of money, which would be taking these pictures, portraying this lifestyle, continuing these sponsorships, and getting paid. So I don't think that it stops like you from really finding houses and like doing the grind, or they like.
But what I hate is like these people get online and they've been like, I've done hundreds of thousands of wholesale deals. I'm like, really, my guy? We'll see your portfolio. You know, it's just, it's kind of like, you know, the real people doing it out there don't have hundreds of thousands of followers and don't have a $10,000 course. You know, it's just kind of like, all right, sure. That's kind of fake it, like
But
what
the
you're talking about.
real people that are out there doing it are making their own money.
Yeah, they are. It's just that I don't like this whole, like I was talking about, this microwave society where they think stuff is just gonna come easy.
I think that that's always been society. At every turn, we've always wanted things to come easy. Like,
Yeah,
the
that's
Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes aren't brand new. Those
No.
are hella old, and people have been like, hey, let me do this to
But
get things to come easier for me. So
Since social media, though, I think it's gotten worse, though.
I don't think it's worse. I just think it's easier for these things to happen now. Everybody was trying before, but you needed to like know someone or like be in like this area. But now everybody can do it, and so people are taking the easy way out. That's just mostly human nature. If I can do these things to get this, then why wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm. I mean, understandable. I'm not, you know, just, that's not my style, though. It's not my...
Oh no, I don't think you should agree with it. I don't think that it has to be for everybody. I don't think that it should be like the standard for like what you should do. I think that if you really want to be a writer, then you faking it till you make it isn't going to result you in being a writer. It's going to get you attention. And sure, you can turn that attention into money, like I said, but that's not going to turn you into a writer. You're still going to have to go back and do the work. Mm-hmm. You can pay for the classes and everything, but you're still going to have to learn the skills and write and get through rough drafts and recognize that, hey, I don't like this first thing that I wrote, and rewrites and things like that. So you're never going to be able to fake it until you make it into something that's tangible. But right now, since attention turns to dollars, you can fake it and make it into attention.
Yes, sir.
So I don't think that that's a big deal. I feel like the people that wanted attention are going for that, and the people that want to pursue an actual goal are going towards that, and they're looking for two different demographics. Like, the book that you want to sell or the script that you want to sell isn't for the people that just want to scroll on Instagram and look at somebody else's life and like follow them and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's for the person that recognizes this book's quality or this script's work or the value of this property that you found that you want to that you can get them on a better deal than they would have been able to get if they hadn't found if you hadn't come along, because they'd never found it. So just things like that are real tangible, that you're not really looking for those people. So what they doing don't really matter to me, but I do think that is a very viable and useful way to do. Yeah, like, no, fake it till you make it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely fake it till you make it. I think that's fine. I think that if you're faking it till you make it in the hopes of like one of those other tangible things, then you're going to be very disappointed, and that's probably more towards that negative like positivity that you have going on. Like, oh, I'm gonna just keep showing these things, and then it's going to come to fruition for me. That's being delusional. Mm-hmm. And I don't advocate for that. That's dumb.
I learned about escaping into the fantasy of the situations that we get ourselves in, and I didn't recognize it. Like, I think at one point before I started getting into the reality of how I wanted my life to go and direction I was in, I was stuck in fantasies of hitting it rich with real estate or buying the right stock. Like, that was maybe until about 27 when I started realizing, like, wait a minute, my life is not matching what's going on in my head, and I think I'm too invested in what this idea of this means to me. And then I think that's when everything started like falling to the wayside, because I started asking, like, well, what is the truth of myself? And I don't think I really started making money until I started saying, well, what are my talents that could make me money, instead of just thinking like things out there were gonna help me get rich fast, or reading a book on, I think I listened like to the audiobook You're a Badass at Making Money, and by the time I started reading that, I was pretty adept in like spiritual practices and getting into meditation and really listening to what it was that I wanted to give to the world. But I think a lot of what people get caught up in is like affirmations. I don't believe like we should just be saying I am wealthy. Well, what the fuck are you wealthy at? Those blanket ass terms will not get you too far but that's toxic positivity too, if you just keep repeating shit and you don't really know what the fuck it means. You're not really asking like these deeper questions to tailor-made an affirmation for yourself. Or I think that's the biggest one that I would have the biggest gripe with about toxic positivity, is those fucking affirmations. Or like, I don't believe in, what would a millionaire do in this situation? I'm not a fucking millionaire. I don't fucking know. And I would hope that people would stop asking what a millionaire would do. You really don't know. You don't know how your millionaire lifestyle compared to somebody else's millionaire lifestyle. So what would be the point of trying to fake it like a millionaire?
How about what would Jeff Bezos with no money, what would he do? Because that's the nigga that made this nigga the $1 million Jeff Bezos.
Right, he got a whole different set of problems.
The mindset and the way that he operated is the one that created this one. So what would this broke nigga do? How about that?
Right,
that's what I should be looking at.
We in the same pot for real.
And so
we got a lot more in common than millionaire Jeff Bezos do.
Yeah, and it's different. So
yeah, so I guess like this whole just kind of, how do you, that's a good another question. How do y'all know when you're pushing yourself too hard in y'all everyday work? Do you ever come across that?
No.
No?
No.
I'm drinking a lot, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
fair.
think too hard. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm feeling like, yeah. If I'm drinking while I'm working.
That's when you know ready to call it quits.
I can see that.
How about you, sir? No? There's
Not really.
nothing. There's nothing that you just like, I need to take a break.
No, but you guys know that like I always have like a billion things like going at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I was really productive beginning of the week in writing on the book that I want to get done this summer. Second half of the week, a lot of just dumb shit kept popping up.
Mm-hmm.
And by like dumb shit, I mean like I had to go do a landscaping job. Then I had to go take my car to get a tire replaced because a chunk was missing from it. Then I had to go to the therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this shit was early morning, the exact time that I like to write. I like to wake up, come down here, and instantly just sit down.
I like how he's like the therapist, this bitch. He ruined the creative flow.
Yeah, like all of this shit is just like in my way and in my face. So
what the fuck? Kudos to you for going to therapy. Let's give us a round of fucking applause. Let's just commend that.
So
but also,
lately.
how about we just don't treat it as a fucking obstacle?
Right,
It is an
just
obstacle.
fuck your therapist. Shit, you gotta get
all of
self-help.
it is no, because all of it is in the early morning when all I want to do is literally wake up, hit my bong, get a nice good hit, and start writing, and have music playing.
What's your book gonna be called?
I'll tell you off mic, or once we get off the show. But yeah, I like to that's how I like to get into it. I dive right in real hardcore. And then I'll do that and I'll probably write from like 9 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really just like sit down and get it in. I'm like, all right, cool. I don't really like get hungry at noon, so I just work till about 2 o'clock, and then it's like, all right, I feel like I want to hit the bong again, and that's when I know that I'm pretty like tapped out and like looking for something else to do. I'm like, all right, you've exhausted your energies on this, and like you gave it a good 6. All right, go work on something else. You still got like sports stuff that you got to see and keep up on. You got to watch all the anime that you got to do for the shows and shit like that. So then I move on to something else. But when I got this other fuck ass shit in the morning that just is taking the fucking place, I can't get into my writing because the way my mind works is once I focus on one thing, that's the one morning thing.
Oh, okay.
And so all these other things be the one morning thing and in my fucking way. So yeah,
Say therapy. Fuck out of here. That's great.
Which I
really.
refuse to have it any other time than early because in the afternoon is ridiculous. I want to be here at 9 o'clock so I can be done with this and then no longer have to think about you for the rest of the day. Because, like, no, I'm not trying to have to, like, be involved in my day and then, like, well, I got to stop and then go to therapy. And then come back out.
And come back reflecting and shit.
Yeah, no. This is
trying to write.
Yeah.
Let's get this reflective period out the way.
Yeah,
so I can
Think
see
about
that.
my dad and our relationship.
Yeah,
Like, this is either
let's
a
do that
morning
in the
time
morning
thing.
before 12.
Yeah, let me get this done with and I can just move over my day.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's why I like early. But, yeah, no, I am, I don't ever think that I'm, like, working too hard. I just bounce from something else. I recognize when I've exhausted my mental capacity for something, though.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'll get exhausted with researching, writing. Like, right now, I'll tell you, like, everybody knows I'm writing a finance book, and so the chapter I'm working right now is credit.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great flow going, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just stopped writing.
Like I don't want to come out with a book, but my boyfriend's like, hey, you should start it now. I'm like, I'm not gonna be focused on that. I know I'm not. So why the hell, like, let me just have like time to just sit down and focus on that. I'm the type of person that can't focus on 1,000 things at once.
Yeah.
Or I just become disinterested. It's kind of like, you know. And plus, I'm like, I want to wait to write that until I like succeed. I'm gonna wait. So.
Yeah, I stopped writing because of that. Because I just was in a horrible mess of things.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not gonna give myself the way I need to. The message is gonna be because I don't even have faith in the message that I'm writing right now.
Right.
I'm not about to do this, and just recognizing that I needed the rest for myself was when I would realize like especially this year, I pushed myself too hard to just try to get over things that I hadn't really gotten over. Like loneliness was something that I didn't realize I still had a fucking problem with, and I thought I dealt with it,
Right.
but I didn't. It creeped back up to be like, knock, knock, who there? Me, bitch. Okay. I had to deal with that big spank, of loneliness inside of me and realizing, like, what I tried to do was run away from it, like I had been doing for my entire life. Mm-hmm. That's when I recognized, like, oh, you're pushing yourself too hard in a direction that you don't really need to go right now. Especially after the things that you went through. Wasn't giving myself credit for, like, resting and really figuring out, well, how do I really feel about this? That was the big moment where I learned, like, I can't fight myself on these things anymore. Who was that side guru that said loneliness? He was like, how could you be lonely? That means you don't really fuck with yourself. Like, how are you don't fuck with you, basically? He didn't say it like that. He said it in a real, like, Indian guru way.
Right.
But how I interpret it was like, damn, you don't fuck with you like that? Like, what you running from? You know what I'm saying? So that's what made me value rest and then learn, like, even with money, like, the flow of how sales kind of work. Like, July is supposed to be the summer slowdown. Any reseller could tell you that your sales ain't gonna be as high because people are out and about buying shit and traveling. Happen all the way across retail. So that's something I had to get used to. Last year, I didn't know that shit was happening. So I was fucked up. Anyway, this year is a little bit easier to deal with. But also knowing when, like, the flow of money not coming in as much as 1 week, that might be a signal for me to rest and to focus more inwardly as if for just going out and getting it and, you know, constantly trying to hustle up a couple of dollars. Things like that lets me know that I'm pushing myself too hard when I'm not accepting the flow of life, basically. When I'm trying to trick myself into being like, well, I don't want to rest because my bank account don't look a certain way, or Riley's birthday, oh my fucking God, I don't know how the hell I'm going to survive this 10-year-old's birthday, but I'm going to get through it. Her birthday on Thursday, and she wanted to go to Boiler 65 and eat fucking crab legs. She looked me dead in my face and was like, I want to eat crab legs for my 10th birthday.
You got crab leg money?
Exactly.
Like, shit, girl.
We gonna do it, though, because I ain't no punk. I was scrounge up this fucking money, but I did it.
After one of these big deals close, I'm gonna fucking sit my ass down for at least a month.
Yeah.
You know, Tony, you know how I used to work before I got laid off, too. It's kind of like, I'm tired. I didn't realize how tired I was until I got on unemployment. Where, like, it's just, you know.
I feel like what y'all said is a lot of what I naturally do. Is I always tend to my energy. So like I said, when my energy wasn't in writing, like I started writing another day and maybe got like a sentence done. And I was like, no, writing's not for today. And so I just went on to something else. I always allow my energy to push me in the direction that I'm going. And never vice versa, where it's like, no, I said I was going to do this today, and this has to be today. That would defeat the purpose of the way that I am trying to live my life. My life is supposed to have choice and option and a level of, like, flow to it. And if I'm always denying that flow because I'm like, no, we got to do this, then I've lost all choice.
Yeah.
So you don't have the choice to rest no more because you got to do this? Or can you choose to do something else? All right, well, you're not feeling this, then do something else. And so I just move into it, and it keeps me from ever feeling like I'm working too hard, because I move my energy into what it feels more aligned with, and then I just engage with that, and then it's kind of like a soft reset instead of having to like what it sounds like y'all get a hard reset, because you're like, no, I'm gonna stick with this and do this because this is what needs to get done. And
that's
then
what's
it's
been
like
happening after I started noticing those periods. I didn't go so hard for like 3 months and then take a month off.
Yeah, then it's like, all right,
like
I got a hard
ass.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, okay, I can do this for a couple of days and not worry about it, and then get back into it. So now I'm getting, like you said, just getting into the flow, so that way I'm not polarizing myself so much on each side. I can be like, oh, I see what's going on here.
I think that's been probably my biggest thing, but it's probably something that I did accidentally, just because the way that my mind is so scattered and always has like 1,000 things going. It's just natural for me to bounce around. So it, like when I'm not working, I feel bad. Like Sunday night, I'll talk about this. Sunday and Monday when we didn't do the shows last week, it threw off my entire like way that I do things and move going forward for a while. It's like, all right, well, I don't have to plan for a show or get topics ready. So what do I do with all of this fucking free time? I don't like this.
What did you do?
I got frustrated one night and went to sleep.
Jesus. No,
I was like, there's no point in me being up. I'm going to bed.
You gotta learn how to just chill, man.
I'm not being conscious for this shit.
Yeah, this shit is dumb. And then there was another night where there was just
die
like
for 8 hours.
nothing on, like no content, no nothing that I could like really get into. And then even if there was no point of me doing it because there was no show coming up. And so it's like, all right, so there's.
He said, I'm about to go die.
It's like, I hate all of it. So those, like, that period, that's why I was like, you know what, I can't miss another week. All right, let me make sure that at least these shows are going to be started up the next week. Even if he ain't here, I'm going to get things back moving, because for me, this don't make me feel productive or right. It's like, sure, a break needs to happen, but I can't break. I felt bad missing all the things that I wanted to talk about all last week and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, for a conversational piece, I was going to bring up this Hunter's Law. Basically, a 17-year-old boy, I want to say middle America, I can't remember the exact state, but was driving, car wouldn't start, car keeps stopping. So he gets pulled over by the cops, white boy. Him and his buddy are in the car. He takes out this blue gas can so he can put it behind his car, because his car is not braking right, so he's using it to stop his car. Cop shoots him.
Yeesh.
And then cuts the body cam on after shooting him.
Wow.
So within like 72 hours, they came up with like Hunter's Law, and they're trying to get that turned into effect. And I was going to talk about like the difference in when blacks get killed and then when whites get killed in laws. But it's time has passed, shit like that. All this final shit for the anime shit. There's lots of anime announcements, all kinds of things that just happened that I was like, oh, there's things that I want to do, but I am not doing them. So that was a very frustrating time for me, because my energy was wanted to be somewhere, but I couldn't be aligned with that. And so I didn't know what to do. I was like, all right, I guess I got time to just do whatever. Fuck off.
Walk around.
It's like, oh, I don't know what to do to myself.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. Damn.
Yeah, take a walk? No.
Because like, a puzzle.
Read? Hell no.
And it's not like that. It's just like, I'll play like Pokemon for like a couple of hours, like a little card game or whatever, and just like bullshit. But after so long, I get bored of bullshitting and be like, all right, well, I need to get back to doing something and like absorbing some type of information and content, or putting out some type of information or content, be doing something productive. And so, yeah, the only other thing that I really enjoy doing is reading. Like, I'll read and I'll do that for hours, but then if I read, you might not hear from me for the entire day. I'm like, I'll ignore my phone. I'm in the whole thing, and like I'll check my phone maybe every 4 or 5 hours and be like, oh,
Are you into
there is messages.
Are you into meditation, right? Are you into meditation?
Not really.
I've been getting into hypnosis lately. Like, that sometimes helps too, you know, to help me relax. I mean, maybe you should try that. I mean, just to fill in the time and just...
I guess that's it's weird. I don't, like, you would think I feel wound up.
Yeah, he don't see a problem with all that.
But I don't.
Well, we don't know.
He don't feel like he need to change.
Well,
But that's the thing. Like, it sounds like I'm a very wound up person, but the flow of it is so relaxing to me. Like, when I feel wound up more is when I'm not doing anything, because that's when I'm just like, all right, well, I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
See,
I'll watch a show. Like, watching a show for me is cool. Like, I've started 7 Deadly Sins.
Okay.
And like I watched like 4 or 5 episodes of that before I went to sleep the other night. And so like I like watching new shows and things like that. So it's not like I don't have moments of rest, but I just think the majority of my day is not going to be spent like that, unless it's like it has to have been the goal. Like I'm taking vacation or I'm going to be doing something with somebody else, and so my energy is aligned with, hey, we're going to go out here and go do this. So sure, I'm not necessarily being productive in the traditional sense, but I'm engaging with other people, building bonds, memories, moments, and things like that. So as long as it's me doing something, I'm pretty happy. But if we're just sitting there not speaking and looking at something, or we're just looking at each other and not really having conversation, I'd rather be working. I don't know why we got to look at each other and not say anything. And I need it to be something of substance as well.
I need you to work.
Or work. Or, because, like, shit, we could talk about legacy.
Yeah.
Like, I had seen a video a couple of days ago where a woman was talking about her great-grandfather was basically a millionaire. And he had left her grandfather... He had $500,000 that he left to all of his kids and everything. So her grandfather got, I believe it was $250,000. Yeah, somewhere in between $250,000 to $400,000, and then he broke the other $100,000 or so between the rest of like the siblings that weren't like his actual kids, just like family members and things like that. But by the time that the grandfather passed, he was living in a trailer that he didn't own. And so it was like, do you think that that's the fault of the great-grandfather because he didn't instill these lessons of how to, like, maintain wealth in his child? Or do you think it's the child that didn't value those lessons and really, like, internalize them because he grew up in a place of position that he didn't value that legacy and, like, what it really meant?
The second one.
And so I just think that that's like I guess that's how I see everything that I'm doing.
Everything is supposed to be like a stimulating thing.
Yeah, like every conversation should be like something like that. Like how it started off, like, all right, now what are our thoughts on that? Like, it needs to be something that's not like, oh, I was at work and this guy did this with this chicken. Can you believe that? I don't give a fuck. I sincerely don't, because no, what they're doing doesn't matter to me.
I'm more apt to being like, yeah, when we talk, but I appreciate silence just as much as I appreciate talkie. I'm not a...
What are we sitting in silence and doing?
I don't know. I don't give a fuck.
Are we listening to music?
Leave or something. Sometimes I don't be wanting to do that. Like, I don't need the constant stimulation. Like, I get what you're saying, but for me personally, like that's what meditation kind of teach you, like, getting into that silence.
Oh, yeah, but I think that's an alone thing.
Yeah. No, I get it, you in the room with somebody, but I also, like, don't understand why people feel like they should be talking every 5 minutes.
No. So, if I'm in the room reading...
Yeah.
Then it's cool, but I don't want you to want me to sit there in alone silence with you, alone silently, and we're not doing anything. Now, if I can read silently and you do whatever the fuck you happen to be doing, meditate, whatever, silently, that is extremely acceptable. That, I think, is a completely valid way to engage with each other and share space, but not necessarily have to fill it up with useless talking.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you always have something to say. So, no, I'm not advocating for that. So I do think, like, hey, I'm going to read this book, but I also kind of want to be around you, but I don't really have, like, a whole lot to say. And you're going to be doing whatever you're doing. Maybe you're sitting over there meditating, or you're doing some yoga, or you're selling stuff online. Whatever you happen to be doing, that's your quiet time, and but you want to be around. I think that's a completely normal thing. I don't think that you should have to talk, but I think it's weird when people want you to be silent, but also, like, be silent with them and not be doing anything but focused on them, and then the conversation is about dumb shit. It's like,
that's understandable.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to be silent with you and also have to focus on you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the point where now I'm delving into, I don't know how to describe this. If it's more of a, not Buddhism, but one of the teachers that I follow, he a Buddhist, I think, and like I was telling y'all, I think last week or whatever, he was saying the mind is 99% silent, and that just made me think about, like, how I know myself to be a God, and how could I say that I'm polarizing myself to this constant simulation and not getting into the part that is silent and don't need to, whether it be with music or even reading a book, all those things, are they really distracting me from that part of myself that has the answers? Because, like I said, I just found a contradiction between saying I'm God, right? But if you don't get into that silent part of God, the part of you that knows better, I think in the Bible it's a fucking quote that says, "Be still and know that I am God." I got that on my phone. And that made me get into, like, oh, I get it now. I can't be, for me personally, like, how can I be wanting to be constantly trying to be better and all this other things, but then not tuning into the silent part of yourself, the part that might have a bigger answer than, like, me trying to chase an answer, basically.
Oh, I do that a lot, just silent, but I don't think I want to be around anybody when I'm doing that. Like, I don't want to share space with you.
No, I'm not, like, that's a whole...
But that's what I mean. That's a completely different thing. Like, if we're being silent and I'm reading, that's because we want to share space. And so, yeah, there's still, like, an energy connection there. But if I'm really being silent to get into, like, the inside of me, I really don't want you around.
Yeah.
Let me be honest. Like, and I do that a lot. I do that a lot while I'm driving the car. I'll just won't connect my phone, cut the radio off, and just drive in absolute silence and just, like...
Oh, you do that too? Be
quiet and just, I love that, the stillness and just, like, the nothingness of that. Like, my thoughts just kind of go wherever they want to, or they don't, and sometimes I'm just driving, and it's enjoyable. And sometimes I won't even know that that's what I want, and I'll hook my phone up, and just the noise will instantly irritate me. I'm like, oh, today is a silent day, and I just continue. So I definitely get that you need moments of just, like, listening to yourself and not any outward stimulus. So no, I agree with that, but that for me would be when I want to be alone. Like, I don't want you around. Like, because I don't see the point of that. Why are you here? Because I really am not about to give you nothing. Like, and if you interrupt this, I'm also going to be upset.
Why are you here looking around like...
Yeah, and why you keep staring at me? And, like, why are you...
Why are you in my mind? Like, this fear of...
My sphere of energy is just, like...
This whole bubble.
Trying to just...
You ever be fantasizing about somebody and then that person calls you, like, you not fantasy, nigga. Like,
you're not supposed to be here.
Like, nah, you speaking. You got words.
Yeah, I don't want... Like, my ideal of what's going on in my mind and what you're doing don't match. And
they don't match. I don't want the reality of you right now. Go away.
Yeah, and it's not even that I don't like you. It's just right now, everything that's happening in my mind is perfect. Yeah, and I would like to stay here and not really engage with you.
I wouldn't engage the reality. You be saying things that I don't want you to say.
That'd be the worst. Like,
you be like, what? So you just decided to have your own mind?
Why did you speak today?
You didn't.
Why did we have this? And it's not even like, why did you speak today? It's just like...
It's not what I want to hear, nigga.
Like, I fuck with you, but sometimes you just say things that I don't necessarily want to hear. And I'm just like...
It's not a part of the fantasy.
Like,
maybe I should tell you the fantasy. No, you'll ruin that.
yeah, you're not gonna live it out the way I want you to.
I'm not gonna do what I need you to do. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so no.
So how do y'all know when y'all getting too comfortable? What's the one where you notice like I am in a comfort zone and I need to get out of it?
What do you mean, like?
How do you know when you're not pushing yourself
When I'm being fake productive.
enough?
Yeah, when I'm being fake productive or I sleep in a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I sleep until like 10:30, which is fine. If I'm sleeping till like 1 o'clock, 12, and I was getting to that because I was drinking a lot and I was just like stressed, and I'm like, how can I avoid getting into that all over again? You know, that's why I started, you know, I do the hypnosis when I go to sleep, you know, now. And I've only been doing it for about a week. Like, lately it's been fine. Like, I've been fine, but how do I keep myself from going back to that slump? I'm like, well, I need something positive to listen to while I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Or before I go to bed, or relax my mind before I go to bed. And, you know, besides weed, I don't drink as much as I used to. I used to get passive drunk. But now, even with my boyfriend in the bed, he doesn't know. Like, I'll play the stuff outside, and he'll want to wake up and go. And I told him what was going on. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I've been playing Michael Seeley.
Yeah, I remember Michael Seeley. You know, some crazy shit I used to do. So right in the middle of my ex-husband's fucking alcoholic journey, I would just sneak and play like quit drinking hypnosis. I was desperate. Oh my God, you just brought up a whole fucking world of trauma. I don't want to talk about it.
Did it
Hell
work?
no, that shit never
Didn't work with him.
didn't want it to fucking work, little bastard.
With me, it did.
I mean, because you have to want
Hey,
and be
you
open.
shut your mouth.
Right.
I didn't know.
Right, you have to.
I didn't know.
Like, me and him both
You
want to
see how now I'm like,
You have to be intentional. You can't hypnotize a nigga on the sneak tip.
I don't want to talk to you. That's why I just made my
Well, the
stomach
thing
hurt.
was, he didn't know I was playing it, but we both have the same goal. So I'm like, yeah, it probably work more for him than it would, you know, for somebody who just wants to lay the fuck around and not do shit like fuck this.
Yeah, I didn't understand that concept before. Like, I was just like,
Like, maybe I just hypnotize him. Maybe he'll want to get
I don't
better.
want to talk to y'all. Why'd you bring it up,
All right,
Trina?
so the way
I'm sorry, I didn't
that
know.
the way that I know that I'm what is it? The way that I know that I'm getting in too comfortable is definitely my sleep pattern as well. Like, like I said, without doing these 2 shows, I've been up to 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, which means I don't get up until at least 10 or 11. Unlike Trina, that's me cutting the tail end of. That's me cutting it really, really close to like. Because once I get up, let's say I get up at 10, I'm probably not get out of bed to 10:30. I'm gonna get high. It's 11 now. I want to grab me a little something to eat, and it's already 2. And I'm no longer in the writing room.
Really?
Yep. It's just that easy for me to miss my window of like hyper productivity. And then at night when I get super productive, it's never on like a analytical side. My nighttime productivity is more creative and experimental. So that's when I do a lot more work on like my other story that's fantasy based and everything like that. Do a lot more work on that at night. In the daytime when I'm more analytical and more like this, it means this, means this, means this. That's daytime. That's right when I wake up. I'm very focused, one train of thought.
See, it takes me a minute. Like, I get up, because if we make phone calls, we don't do it until after lunch. So I'll get up, and I need to take my time getting up. Because I'm a slow get, even though I'll be up. It's like, well, let me check and see if I got anything in email, blah, blah. Get up, do some bullshit, drink my coffee, eat, do a little skip tracing, and then we just get into the phone calls. But like you like to start your shit like right away in the fucking morning.
Yeah, no,
I can't do that.
I
shit.
like to get up at like 7.
Fuck no.
I want to be up at 7, like, cause like sometimes I'll do like I'll be on my back and I want to do, like, I want some breakfast. Like, I did, like, a strawberry French toast thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need the time to decide how I'm feeling in the morning and what is on my first agenda. So I take care of that. Because, actually, I can realistically wake up and hop out the bed and be out the door in, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If I need to be. And so, since I give myself more space than that, for me it feels like I'm giving myself time to like enjoy more of my morning. And so yeah, it's like, all right, well, you're up, get out of the bed and start doing what you need to be doing because you're awake now, and other than that you could have still been asleep. So I just hop out the bed, I get started, but me sleeping late, missing that window, giving that window not enough time to like really be a valid opportunity to write, those are when I recognize that, all right, you're too comfortable or your flow is off. And so, like, with those shows be missing and everything like that, and me not really having, like, anything. And, like, even though I woke up really early the one day, I was just, like, lethargic because I was like, I ain't got shit. It don't matter. I ain't got nothing to do today. I'm going to go do this partial thing, and then there's going to be no show and no other work because I also never plan to write on Sundays and Mondays because they're show days, so my energy is weird those days.
Yeah.
I usually take a nap before I do the show because that allows me to like come in fresh, fully energized, things like that. I'm more focused on like topics and like it's more of like a reserved energy throughout the entire day until showtime, and then I'm full energy and can go as long as I need to. And since I have this burning energy, bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
Since I have this burning energy at night now for the shows, I just be up the entire night because it's like, well, I didn't do anything, but I have all of this energy, so.
Yeah, I used to go do that shit when we record, and then when leaves like, 2 in the morning when we was doing that shit on Thursdays, up all fucking night. I'm like, couldn't keep sleep. I'm like, what the fuck? I couldn't stand. Even when I took the sleeping pills, I couldn't go to sleep. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like that bouncing energy. Like I will have that where my mind is like, no. I need to fully exercise myself out now until I'm ready to be settled again. And I'm like, god damn it, mind. So yeah, no, I haven't gone to sleep until 3:30 at least every single night this week.
Man, I can't.
Super frustrating for me.
I'm trying to go to sleep earlier than that. I used to do that.
I want to go to bed if I can go to bed by 1:30, 2 o'clock, I'll be up by 7:30, no later than 8, out to bed by 8:15, ready to go.
Yeah. Unless I got something to do in the morning, like tomorrow morning I do, I won't be up that early.
No, I like getting up that early just because it's the East Coast and I need to do something. If I lived on the West Coast, I would actually get up earlier.
I went working out at like 7 o'clock one morning and nothing was open. All right, I'll talk about my comfort zone before I can even get into this story. But my comfort zone was not like just being on go mode and then not getting into what I really needed. Not into that part of me that was like, knock, knock, bitch, you probably got something to deal with. My comfort mode zone was just keep going. What do you need to stop for? This feels good. Getting caught up in that one polarized part of it and then crashing. So like just being polarized, just being dragged back and forth and not getting into know internally, well, how do you really feel about this? Because now you addicted to the high of these things. And I didn't know how to just be like, well, maybe you really don't like that, or maybe this is the truth of the situation. You're not seeing things clearly because you always on go mode. We need to stop. Because I was like, there was nothing in my family. Like my mother worked crazy hours, my father worked, so I never saw like rest being a priority. Rest was something that was, you don't think about. There's no time to rest. What the fuck? What you need to rest for? What is all this getting to know yourself things? Like, so I was saying that at first for a real super long time. Like, I didn't know how to really tune into myself and just really get to know this part of myself that I was ignoring all those times. And they caught up eventually because I'm under the guys like, your bad parts really run your life, not the good parts of you, until you get to the point where you can deal with those negative aspects that really rule a part of your life. Like, well, part of me that said that, like, you know, things can come when they come. You got to be patient, not when you think a thing could come. Having that flexibility was something that I had to learn to get comfortable with. I didn't have a lot of flexibility, really.
I need to learn a lot of patience.
Yeah.
It's sometimes frustrating. It's like, well, shit, I done worked over a month on this one deal and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the guy's like, it'll
right.
come when I say it's gonna come.
Matter of
fact, you need to be working on other shit.
Yeah, I started with the affirmation. I found one that says patience is action. So I repeat that to myself when I'm feeling a tad bit fucking frustrated. Yeah, patience is action.
Okay, I have to remember that.
Because you're actually doing something. You're being patient.
They don't put that on my phone saver. I need to be reminded of that.
Yeah, like I got a whole little affirmation list of just what rest means to me. Get into those parts so I'm not just continuously going trying to ignore bigger fucking problems. That was my comfort zone. Ignoring shit and then not want to deal with it. Like being in not la la land, but you already know how bubbly I am and how I'm just like what are these feeling things? I don't want to do that. But anyway, so back to the East Coast story about how don't shit just be going on. Like, when I'm ready to work out, I'm ready to, like, once I finally get out of, like, it takes me forever to get out of bed, but once I finally get over that part, I go. So after that, I'm gone. And when I decided to wake up at 7 in the morning to go work out, it wasn't nothing open because I zoomed out the house and I can't work out on an empty stomach. I'll get nauseous.
Really?
Now I'm looking for somewhere to eat and ain't shit open McDonald's. I'm like, I don't want to feed myself this garbage.
Yeah, when I used to get up to work out, I used to get up at the same time. Like, I used to try to get up at like 6 in the morning, and I felt like when I do that, I come home, I immediately just want to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. And even though I have to eat, I was like, I immediately just want to go to sleep, and I won't get up until noon. Like, to me, I'm like, no, I can't. If I'm going to work out, it has to be at like 10, 11.
Yeah, I was just waking up at 7 in the morning. And then staying in bed till like 9. I'm like, am I supposed to be up? Because now I'm just like tuning in, like, should I get out of bed and start my day and get all of my me priorities out the way first? That way, by the time 9 o'clock can roll around, I'm ready to get other aspects of my day started. Because that's what I was like, maybe that's what's going on with my body. Maybe body is like, ma'am, be up now. And I'm just not listening. Like, no, I'd rather not. I'd rather just scroll here. 9 o'clock come around. Shit is open where I can eat a semi-healthy meal. That's bad on my part. I shouldn't be eating out every day, but I do.
See, like, if it was on the West Coast, I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it's just different here?
There's nothing
happening. Open. Yeah, it's like this weird dead space between when I be up
6 a.m. and 9 o'clock.
You have to go to the diners or something.
And I mean, it's not even to eat. For me, there's literally no content produced.
Yeah. It's like the whole world stopped.
Yeah, everything stopped, and now you need a 3-hour lead time to get up to. All right, there's things for me to watch. There's stuff to get into, and like really get into the day going. Because I'm not going to listen to, like, talk time radio and anything like that because that's chock full of commercials. So I'm going to wait till you get chopped down and are actually without the commercials. But if you're on the West Coast, since it's 3 hours behind, waking up at 6, it's already 9 out here.
Yes, so
I can immediately start working. And so I love that. And I still don't go to sleep until about 2 o'clock in the morning.
You and I be up like, pew, 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 and then the world be like, sit down.
Yeah, no, I
can sit down.
Nice.
Be like, God damn.
1:30 to, if I go to sleep about 1:30, probably. Well, if I lay down by 1:30, falling asleep probably at like 2. I can get up at 6:30 consistently every day, and not feel tired and be completely fine. I really only need about 4 hours of sleep, and that's how I know when I'm being too comfortable and I'm just lazy. It's like, all right, you're getting an absorbent amount of sleep. Your sleep hours are this late 3 a.m., 3:30, and then you're not wanting to get out the bed, and you have things to do, and so while I recognize that going to sleep at 3:34 and getting up at 7 doesn't sound appealing to you.
See, look,
get your ass up, nigga.
Unless I'm on acid, no. I need my 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Because if I'm not, Trina don't get her 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Katrina is mad for the rest of the day.
If I get more than 6 hours of sleep, I find it really hard to get out of the bed. I don't want to wake up. I just want to lay there and just continue to sleep. And so then I'll cut alarms off and be like, well, I'm going to have no alarms for the rest of the day. And then I wake up at noon like, fuck. You woke up at 8 and decided no alarms, and now it's noon. Look at you. The fuck are you doing? So yeah, no.
That'd be the bad part. Like, why are you beating yourself up for rest, nigga? That's wild.
Because it's unneeded. It's not like I was really tired. It was just like I just get into a mode where I was like, I'm not getting out the bed. And it's only when I get extra amounts of sleep, and then I'd be like, more sleep and more and more and more. And like, that's not what we do. You can't just be obsessive about sleep. Because I'm having an obsessive personality, so once I enjoy something, I'm like, because I don't hate sleep, I just think it's relatively useless if you want to be productive. Can't sleep and be productive.
Those things don't go together.
They don't. So,
right.
I mean, if I want to be productive, sleeping is a pretty useless tool. Until it's nighttime and then my 4 hours, 5 hours come and there it is. But yeah, you guys have to stop that toxic positivity.
Oh, yes, please do.
Be
I'm
happy.
exhausted. Bitch, if you can do it, I can do it. Shut up.
I think there should be a demotivational speaker.
If you can't do it today, don't do it.
Someone that just is online and like
Punk
the opposite
ass.
of a motivational speaker.
Chewing gum.
Yeah.
Just
sit your ass on the
you about
couch.
to do shit.
Don't do nothing.
Don't
We
do nothing.
chilling.
Don't put that
chilling.
in no
Go,
video.
cut that shit off. Stop. Close that book.
What the fuck is you doing?
Why is you
Smoke
reading?
that weed right there. Take that acid. Yeah,
Take that extra hit.
Yeah.
Tony, you don't need to get out of bed right now.
Not at all. Yeah, a very
12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think the people that have toxic positivity need a motivational speaker to help them out. Hey, do you find it hard to get rest and stay at home? Do you always feel like you're on the go, but you would like not to be? We have the answer. The demotivational speaker.
You know what,
and you can get access to all of their speeches for one price of $19.99 monthly.
That probably blow up on Instagram or Facebook. If you put like a
Demotivational speaker,
demotivator.
man.
If you just became a demotivator.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I just have no desire to like put my energy into it. I give good ideas to the universe all the time that I know I have no idea, no desire to use. I'm like,
I'm
You're
going
not
to put that on my
as lazy as
Instagram
us
bio.
If
I'm a
you're not-
demotivational speaker. Check out the link below.
If you're not as lazy as us three when it comes to social media, please do a demotivation video and content. I will laugh at that. Y'all better
a whole channel, just a whole page
just
on that.
dedicated demotivation.
Look at y'all getting free game. Here on Conscious Reconstruction.
Yeah.
We don't want to see nobody not chasing that bag.
Hell
Not
no.
at all. But other than that, we will.
It's too exhausting. I'm telling you, it is. I am fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Like every time somebody says no, they don't want to sell, I get seriously
Yes,
upset.
she-
I just be
she
like, why
crazy.
not? Your house
She
is
going
trash.
crazy on the mic.
You sell it
Crazy on the
already.
mic.
You owe like $30,000.
She
The
doing
fuck are you hanging
numbers
on
on
this?
the mic, man. She's
On
crazy on the mic.
Ain't gonna get shit at auction anyway. No, I don't want to sell.
Well, she's hostile, so we're leaving. This is the Conscious
No,
Reconstruction.
let me keep going.
Nope,
No,
I'm
go
out of
ahead.
here. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, or dislike. I am not biased. Just,
I'm mad.
get us out there. Engagement. But yeah, make sure you follow us. It's Ash and Trina is still going off in the background. And we're out of here.